What can we expect from this search?
Well, clearly the Saudis have had a lot of time to clean it up. But I think the Turkish detectives, who will be going in with Saudi detectives as well, by the way, will be looking for microscopic bits of evidence, a snippet of Khashoggi's blood or a piece of his hair or something like that. If they find these pieces of DNA in places where Khashoggi would not normally have been, such as in a basement or something like that, that will be hard evidence that something untoward happened to Khashoggi. The interesting thing is that it has taken so long for this inspection to take place. There has been an argument. Initially, the Saudi consul was photographed at the front door of the consulate saying to the press, "Come in and look for yourselves. Khashoggi isn't here." But then when the Turkish detectives knocked on the door, he got cold feet. Turkey then said, "Look, let's make it a joint inspection." Saudi detectives arrived in Turkey on Friday, but still the inspection didn't take place. And the Turkish Foreign Minister, Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, called on the Saudis to cooperate. Also on the weekend, France, Britain and Germany issued a statement saying the investigation into Khashoggi's disappearance must be credible. And by that, I think they were signaling to the Saudis that if they controlled the investigation, it would not be credible. And finally, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan phoned King Salman yesterday and spoke to him. And I think today's inspection, when it takes place, it still hasn't started, is a direct result of that phone conversation with the king.
So we're seeing Saudi Arabia and Turkey working together, at least this Monday. But who needs the other more between the Saudis and the Turks?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat the question, please?
Between the Saudis and the Turks, which nation needs each other more, the other more in this investigation?
Well, I think certainly the Saudis don't really need Turkey. But certainly the investigation will not be credible unless Turkey controls it. You've got to have independent investigators. Erdogan has played this affair very diplomatically. One hasn't heard the threats and bluster that President Erdogan is known for. He clearly doesn't want a showdown with the Saudis. Turkey needs Saudi support in Syria, and it needs Saudi investment. Now, if it is proved that Khashoggi was killed or kidnapped by the Saudis, Turkey will retaliate, but I don't think its retaliation will be very strong. I don't think it'll go as far as breaking off diplomatic relations. Much more important to the Saudis, however, is how America and Europe retaliate. Yesterday, the Saudi stock exchange fell by as much as 7% at one point. It recovered later. And this was clearly in response to President Trump saying that if the Saudis are involved in Khashoggi's death, there would be severe punishment. In response to American senators calling for an embargo on U.S. arms sales to Saudi Arabia. And perhaps most importantly, it was in response to CEOs of companies like J.P. Morgan Chase, Virgin, Ford Motor Company, canceling their attendance at an investment conference in Riyadh later this month. This shows that Khashoggi's disappearance has tarnished Saudi Arabia's reputation. It has lost some authority. And Saudi needs Western investment in order to diversify its economy away from petroleum. So I think whoever organized Khashoggi's disappearance has found that the world's reaction is much stronger than he or she expected.